Well, as I've been saying for about a month and a half now, if there are going to be serious criminal charges against the upper echelon of the Trump circle, I believe they are more likely to come from the Georgia investigation. Remember, that's the one where Trump wanted votes.
I need 11,000 votes. Give me a break.
That one. Than from what's going on with the January 6th committee. That's my opinion. Now, it could be wrong. And indeed, we are getting a sign that there could be trouble in paradise. Rudy Giuliani, Trump's former lawyer, Republican Senator Lindsey Graham, as well as Trump's former lawyer John Eastman, have been subpoenaed in the Georgia, it's actually Fulton County grand jury probe. Rolling Stone writes, the Fulton County grand jury's probe appears to be closing in on the former president, who pressured Georgia's top election officials to find the votes.
I need 11,000 votes. Give me a break.
Needed to overturn the election. They have slapped a bevy of subpoenas on several figures tied to Trump, including Rudy Giuliani, Lindsey Graham, John Eastman. John Eastman's that very outrageous lawyer who wrote the plan for how Pence could potentially overturn the results and then was advised to get a criminal lawyer by Eric Hirschberg. Cleta Mitchell, Kenneth Chesbrough, and Jenna Ellis, all of which were involved in Trump's scheme to overturn the election, also received subpoenas. So too did Senator Lindsey Graham. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution notes Giuliani testified before Georgia lawmakers 3 times following the 2020 election, and that the ludicrous, unfounded claims about election fraud during that testimony has drawn the interest of the grand jury. Remember, Rudy was flying around the country with flatulence and COVID. It's what it is. I'm just telling you what it is. Doing hearings where, if I recall correctly, no one was under oath, like almost ever or maybe ever. And he was making a fool out of himself. He was making a fool out of Trump. It was crazy. So Rudy is the target of a subpoena. Lindsey Graham allegedly called Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger to ask if he had the power to toss out legally cast absentee ballots. So Lindsey is being sucked into it. And John Eastman as well. The subpoenas, which were issued yesterday, come as the grand jury has been hearing testimony from a parade of witnesses. So there's a couple different things going on here that I think are important to consider. First of all, when I look at Lindsey Graham, Lindsey to me seems like the exact type of guy who will throw anybody under the bus to save himself. Rudy seems like the type of guy who others throw under the bus. And so far, that's the way it's worked out. Lindsey has flip-flopped a dozen times now on, is Trump good or bad? What was the deal with the 2020 election? You might remember very early on the morning of January 7th, after midnight, roughly maybe just before midnight, Lindsey gave this speech on the floor of the House or Senate, don't remember where they were convened at the time, and said, it's time for it to end. The election is over. And people looked and said, oh, good. What a mature guy. But then he walks that back and he says the irregularities, this, that, the other thing. So Lindsey is the prototypical guy of, I'll say whatever I need to say right now to save my own ass. Rudy has just been getting slapped around by everybody. Trump, yeah, they all, and so everybody is kind of playing their role. The question about John Eastman is an interesting one. Eastman, he wrote this 7-point or however many points there were plan for how Pence could send the election back to the states. But he seemed to acknowledge, based on testimony given to the January 6th committee, I think that he sort of knew it was bogus. And then he was advised to get a criminal lawyer because what he was sort of suggesting is arguably against the law. Very clearly seems to be against the law. So I don't know what the direction will be there. Now, there have been many people saying, are they going to fight these subpoenas? Are they going to ignore these subpoenas? Well, they'll do everything they can to delay their appearances. But contempt of court is different than contempt of Congress. Not showing up when the January 6th committee wants you to show up is one thing. And that we've seen some criminal referrals, but not showing up when you're subpoenaed by a court is a different thing. So my expectation is they'll delay the appearances as much as possible, and then they'll show up and assert their Fifth Amendment right to avoid self-incrimination. And I don't know that you're really going to see them in serious legal trouble, but we're going to follow it. Now, the one other aspect of this is people have been asking about extradition. My understanding is that within the U.S., states extradite. Like if Rudy, I don't know where Rudy lives now. Maybe he's in New York. Maybe he's in D.C. I'm not sure. If Georgia calls New York and says you got to extradite Rudy, he's in contempt of court. My understanding is New York does it. That New York will do it, but we will allow other lawyers to weigh in on that as well. I think this is the biggest discount that any sponsor has ever offered on the David Pakman Show. This is Crush Organics. Crush Organics loves the show so much. They're giving my viewers 50% off their entire collection of organic CBD products when you use the code Pakman. I'm the only show where you can get this big a discount. That I like. And for each sale, Crush Organics will donate $10 to the Last Prisoner Project. That's a really great nonprofit. It helps to free nonviolent drug offenders and reform drug laws. Very important. And it doesn't stop there. Anyone who uses my code also gets a free jar of CBD gummies or a jar of CBD topical cream. Crush has only the best organic CBD, whether you're looking for oils, creams, or edibles. So that's 50% off and a free jar of gummies or topical cream and $10 towards creating real change in our justice system. Go to crushorganics.us and use the code Pakman. The link is down below.